Welcome back, guys, to Kieran Horn CFB, and today another very special video for you. I'm sure you can see who it is on the screen. Talking about legendary Baylor defensive end Shawn Oakman. But before we get into the video, remember to click like if you liked it, click dislike if you disliked it, subscribe, click the bell notification icon so you can be notified when I upload. So, January 1st, 2015, Baylor are playing Michigan State in the Cotton Bowl, and this image shows up on the Jumbotron. Shawn Oakman, 22 years old, 6'9", 280 pounds. Man, what a beast. Just look at him. He comes into a game looking like this with the Ray Lewis grill on, and my god, if you were on Twitter at this point in time, the memes it sparked were phenomenal. Even if you are not a football fan, you probably saw some of these memes floating around, like this one, for example, where Shawn Oakman doesn't say grace, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just put it out, and he does not want to go to the Jags. He's going to the Patriots. So, where did Shawn Oakman's story start? Because Shawn Oakman was born in Pennsylvania on April 7th, 1993, in Philadelphia. And from a young age, he showed an interest in sports, particularly football. He attended Penwood High School, where he played football and basketball, and gained a reputation as one of the most promising young athletes in the area. And after high school, like you would assume for such a stud athlete, Oakman received several scholarships from some of the top programs in the country. But he wanted to stay home, and he decided he was going to commit to Penn State University, and that's where he was going to play football in his future. So, why are we seeing Baylor highlights and not highlights from Penn State? Well, it's interesting you say that. Not long after he arrived on campus at Penn State, Oakman got into it with another student, and a fight broke out, essentially. Penn State, at the time, with a lot of things that were happening with the university, couldn't afford another scandal with a player breaking team contact, so he was kicked from the team. He was almost immediately picked up by Baylor, where he went on to be an absolute monster, an absolute force of nature, let's just say it. At Baylor, he was an animal, and after a couple years at Baylor, he was being looked at as one of the top prospects in the NFL draft. If he'd have not stayed for his senior year, he probably could have gone in the top 3. That's how good Shawn Oakman was. And can I remind you, 6'9", 280 pounds. He tested off the charts. He was freakishly strong, freakishly athletic. This kid was going to make bank in the NFL. But after staying for his senior year, he saw his production drop, and he kind of dropped out of the first round, or at least teams were only looking to take him in the 20s. That's when the problem arose. Quick content warning. We are going to be talking about sexual assault for the next few minutes, so if you are sensitive to these sort of things, skip ahead in the video, and I'll leave some resources in the comment section for you to go check out if you are struggling with any issues that we are going to mention. On April 7th, 2015, Shawn Oakman was accused of sexual assault by another Baylor student. She alleged that after attending a club that night, while drunk, Oakman removed her clothing and sexually assaulted her. Police obviously took this very seriously. She went to Providence Medical Center, where they issued a sexual assault test, and then brought Oakman in for questioning. Oakman said the encounter was consensual and maintained his innocence, so he hired a legal team. This legal battle would take 4 years to clear up.
Shawn Oakman, the former Baylor University football player accused of sexual assault, found not guilty by a jury less than an hour ago here in McLennan County. This after 2 days of testimony and multiple attempts to get the trial dismissed.
Fox 44's Noelle Mendoza live outside the McLennan County Courthouse with today's developments.
Leslie, Robert, an emotional day today for Shawn Oakman as well as his family. When the verdict was read, you could see them yelling and getting very emotional, crying, tears were flowing. But during those 2 days, we heard from 14 witnesses who went over the events that happened on April 3rd, 2016. And tonight the jury had to consider not whether the sexual act happened, but whether it was consensual. The day started with the state's last witness, Dr. William Carter, a psychologist who said rape victims use dissociation to cope with something traumatic, adding it's a way to get through the moment, confirming how the woman said she was zoning out during the sexual act. Dr. Carter also spoke about consent, saying no means no, and if it meant yes yesterday, that doesn't mean it will mean yes today or tomorrow. After the state rested, the defense called several witnesses, including 2 of Shawn Oakman's friends who were with him on April 3, 2016. The friends confirmed the woman wanted to go home with him the night of the alleged sexual assault, saying she went voluntarily and even texted her friends to go home without her. DNA analyst Brett Watson also took the stand, confirming that during the woman's buccal swab, they found Oakman's DNA inside her mouth, specifically his semen. Another expert, Richard Connor, a digital forensics analyst, told the jury the woman deleted text messages with Oakman asking him to meet her at the nightclub. During closing arguments, the state told the jury to consider Oakman's height and size and that he is capable of carrying out a threat. They also asked the jury if consensual sex caused the several injuries the woman had, why would anyone ever have sex? The defense pointed out inconsistencies in the woman's testimony about the events that unfolded that night, adding both of them were together because they wanted to be.
After this lengthy legal battle, Oakman was happy to be cleared, but this incident had very clearly ruined his career. He'd gone from a first-round prospect to completely undrafted, and no teams were even looking at him. His football career was in limbo. It seemed like his dreams of playing professional football were over. However, Oakman never gave up on his dreams. He continued to work hard, hoping for an opportunity. He ended up in the Spring League with the Generals and showed out. And finally, in 2020, Oakman was given a chance to prove himself at the XFL draft. He was selected by the Los Angeles Wildcats and he quickly became a standout player on the team, recording 2 sacks and a forced fumble in the team's first game, that proving, after all the time off, he still had what it takes to play at a high level. He then continued his career and ended up in the CFL just a year later, and after the 2021 season, he was named as one of the All-Stars, one of 2 All-Stars from the Toronto Argonauts. Go Argos. But we must mention as well that he also won a Grey Cup. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the CFL, but that is essentially the Canadian Super Bowl. So he had some hardware, but he had missed out the most important years of his playing career, honestly. The first 5 years were taken away from him by this incident. But Oakman continues to just be an upstanding citizen in his community, in the community in Toronto. Shawn Oakman is a testament to what you can be. He is a fantastic athlete, a phenomenal person, and he's now a champion. Congratulations to Shawn Oakman on becoming a Grey Cup champion, and I hope we see him back in blue for the Argos next year. In conclusion, I just want to talk about how strong you've got to be to come back from something like this. A lot of people said, well, these false accusations ruined my career. My career is over. I can't do anything now. I can't play football anymore. Shawn Oakman proved those people wrong. He balled out in the XFL, the 2020 version. He balled out in the CFL. And maybe, who knows, we might see him get to finally take some snaps in an NFL uniform. But I think this just proves that Shawn Oakman is one of the hardest working and most determined players to ever play the game of football. No matter what came between him and his dream, he persevered and he came through. Now, I'm very happy that the allegations were revealed to have been false and he was exonerated, but it shouldn't have taken 4 years. Shawn Oakman had his career robbed by somebody just trying to make a quick buck or somebody trying to gain some clout off his name. Now, that's unfortunate because then that leads to problems with people who have actually been in that situation. So I'm not going to publicize her name or anything about her because that's what she wants. This video is here purely to praise Shawn Oakman's determination and work ethic. He's a champion. No one can ever take that away from him. Thank you guys for watching once again. If you enjoy my videos, I'm sure I'll see you next week. We got another free agency and a draft video coming up. And I'll see you in the next one.